God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
I fixed one set of minutes. I left off the end of a sentence.
Just get interrupted.
Rick had called me, I fixed it. It was for the medical examiner discussions.
Yeah. Other than that, I didn't see anything through.
Nope, I didn't either, I just,
Make
them I
the
did
motion
get.
that we approve those.
Okay,
3
Second.
sets.
all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. We got 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Nothing else that we can actually work on, is there?
Unless you had a quick report.
Had conservation last night.
You get home last night?
You mean the report's gonna be quicker than the meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Definitely. She'll be coming in, she might touch on some of the stuff last night, but some of the, was the trail, Old Creamery Trail. Thinking about changing the trailhead to enter it. The other thing, they're gonna adopt a handbook for volunteers. So they'll have to learn how to run equipment. So, it was long last night.
Did we ever talk about doing background checks on some of those? Didn't we talk about that at Heartland? I don't know if they ever followed through with that.
And I don't remember Heartland. May have came up separately, but I don't remember Heartland discussing a handbook for volunteers.
It was more, they were worried about background checks and things when I was in one of those.
I think it's time.
Oh, yeah. Barb, what's up?
Like say land use hearing for Brian and Joe Kuhn for Tuesday, March 15th at 9:15.
Tuesday when?
March 15th at 9:15.
We set that land use hearing for Jill and Brian Kuhn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb.
Is there any more to your report, was there?
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, they're gonna have a fish deal down at Annam Lake, ain't they?
Mm-hmm. Saturday.
They're anticipating a big crowd.
Weather's supposed to be a little decent too, isn't it?
I really don't know.
Oh, gosh, I can't remember what that was.
I
I
do
was
not
thinking
know.
it was.
I thought it was a little better than normal. It's been really horrible cold in the past.
There isn't anybody down there.
Well, they don't have a park ranger.
Well, hopefully they got somebody maybe hired for down there. It's in the works. It's not in school. They had interviews yesterday afternoon, I guess, so.
Shows 31 degrees on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so, and 47 on Sunday, so that'll be a pretty good turnout.
When is it? Saturday and Sunday?
No,
No,
just
just
Saturday. 8:30 to 1.
I just threw that other in because I was on it.
Yep, 8:30 to 1.
You know, you've got about 5 minutes here. You gentlemen, I want to do some public input, got 5 minutes. either or.
Okay.
Hi, Kirsten.
I'm here in, well, as a former Norway City Councilman, I'm here in regards to the side-by-sides in ATV. It's my understanding that you guys approve these to basically run wherever they want. Is that the deal?
Well, let's start out, let's back that side by side up. First name is Darrell,
Right.
last name is,
Something.
okay, and from where, Darrell?
No.
Because we're on, being recorded, so, okay. Before I got on the board, there was, a ordinance passed to allow side-by-sides, but I believe there's restrictions with that. It's not that they can run all over. But I do believe they're allowed on the gravel roads. And don't know, but you'll see them, for example, north of Benton on 150, because they gotta get across the river some way. And so you'll see them heading out that way. You would think they would run on that wide shoulder, but they're running on the highway. So, yeah, so I don't know that it's a true statement to allow them to run anywhere and everywhere.
Well,
It's in
May
the
seem like it.
legislation right now. I know there's another bill at the legislation on ATV, UTVs.
well, I know they pretty much come in and out of Norway as they please, and they come into town and they drive around, and we have an ordinance that says they can't do that, but of course, how do you enforce stuff? I mean, the golf carts, we have to register our golf carts and pay $25 a fee for the privilege of driving around Norway. So, but yet they can come to town and just ride around. I mean, I know one guy, it's got one that's got air conditioning and heat, he drives it to church. They drive them around just like a vehicle. I mean, there's no license plates on them, there's no, any kind of identification whatsoever on them. And you don't know who they are, and like I say, they pretty much go wherever they want.
I think they're supposed to be registered with the county.
Through the recorder.
So that, if it is not registered, or I presume they'd have a sticker then, I don't have a side-by-side. So I'm just speaking out through the hole in my head. But as far as forcing your local ordinance, that's up to your, well, you're contracted, I presume, with law enforcement. That sounds like a, complaint you need to throw at the sheriff.
Well, I've called Tippett and I've got little or no response from them.
Well, if you would hang around, you should get some response here about 45 minutes, because he should be here. So, but, yeah.
And I know, I've had different people tell me that, like out in the gravels and stuff, they just run in packs and they go on beer runs and, I mean, I just don't think that was the intention when that was legalized. I mean, I just think it's gotten way out of hand.
Well,
I just think they need to stay on their own property with those. I mean, why should they get to run all over? It's just not right.
yeah, there's quite a few vehicles that get to run around without registrations, licenses, that kind of stuff, but, yeah, that sounds like more of a local enforcement with the sheriff's office.
You know, if you do try to enforce it, well, of course, by the time anyone gets there, they're gone. And like I said, you have no way to identify it because there's no numbers or you just don't know who they are. And I know who some of them are, but I don't know who they all are.
It'd be nice if they had sort of like a boat, where a boat has a DNR number on it. And so, I mean, that would be sweet.
Yes.
Yeah,
But-
they are registered, but you can't tell by the name, but you'd have to pull it through, like, they pull licenses.
They
From the
have some type
sticker.
of
Yep.
number.
Yeah,
Yep.
from the sticker.
Yes,
that-
and then
that-
if the cities have ordinance, then you have to get the individual city sticker as well. So like ours has the Benton and the county.
Okay,
Probably the best way to handle it is, have an ordinance in Norway, if that's a problem down there. And then, if they don't have it where you can see it, you just write them up.
Our ordinance is or that you have to stay on like Railroad Street, that's like the main street that runs through Norway. When we allow them to come in, you know, maybe to go to the post office or get gas or do whatever, but it don't end there. They're all over town with them. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like more of an enforcement scenario. You've already got an ordinance in Norway, as you said early on, but, yeah. It's,
Well, like myself, I got one. I use it for spraying fences. Fence rows around the outside, that's about the only time I ever, and I got farms all over, so I don't, I will take it, like on a dirt road or a gravel road or something, but I don't even go into town.
Cause I've seen them on the highway, and a lot of them have to come in on the highway. I mean, they're on the highway, I've seen them.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
passed
sure,
them on the highway.
I'm sure there are. I take dirt
Mhm.
roads whenever I get a chance, or gravel. You know, I try and stay off the main roads. But,
I mean, I've talked to a couple of them, but of course, they got me nowhere, they just got smart with me. One guy said, well, I'll be driving this around Norway after you're dead. It's like, well, we'll see.
yeah, and it's unfortunate that, you know, they don't adhere to the ordinance.
No,
And, you know, many times things get enforced like that after there's an accident, then they're written up for improper use or whatever, but, yeah.
so if I do call the sheriff's department and give them a name, and are they gonna get some type of fine, or how is that gonna work?
I think the only way they're gonna get a fine is if you go to court against them.
Okay.
That's, you know, because they weren't there to catch them.
there's gotta be a way to control it.
Well, there is. It's a complaint filed with the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office should look into it, okay, and get back to the individual. Tell them this is a no-no, and if we catch you doing it again, we're gonna, you know, write you up.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way it should work. Just
I-
short of you doing a, you know, citizen's arrest or complaint and following that through all the way through the court system.
But as you know, the towns got law enforcement, and then
Right.
the rural areas got law enforcement, so it's different.
I mean, I've seen them, I've seen them in Newhall, I've seen them in Atkins. Well, I was over here yesterday, we're downtown. One went right up this street out here, right up this street, up this way.
I think the city allows them here in town.
Wow.
But you gotta get two tags. You gotta get the city one, and you gotta get the county one.
See, most of the ones we got are coming from the country, that's where they're coming from.
Maybe you could have your mayor and your council vote on it, that they gotta have a tag to come in to Norway.
That's a good idea.
$25.
Okay, that's a good idea. That's what
Just
you-
throwing it out there.
That's what you have here.
That's what Benton has.
Benton has.
And that's yearly.
Yeah, yearly. Like a dog license.
Okay.
Gotta renew it.
There's a bunch of them in Blairstown around, I see them all the time.
I don't know what the ordinance is. That's before my time, before
Yeah,
I was
and
a
I
super,
don't-
before you guys even was.
Exactly.
I
was
here
past
for it.
supervisors.
Yep, and then what they did is they did a traffic count, so then the restricted roads were pertaining to unsafe or traffic count. The engineer had to say in that.
Cause I thought they can't be on it like highways.
Well, I think you
Certain
can
ones.
to get like across the river.
Yeah, and if it was like from your farm to your field entrance, you're
Yeah,
supposed to go to the closest
That's by the
entrance.
DNR, yep, closest route.
You know,
Well, I just wanted to get some clarification on it, because I didn't really know what the rule was, and like I said, I was trying to get some, Ron was supposed to send me some stuff, of course he never did, and I called him again, he never called me
I
back,
can
so.
give you a
Yeah.
copy of our ordinance if you'd like. Do you have an
That'd be
email
great,
or
yes.
do you have an email you can leave me and I'll email it to you?
I don't have it, no.
Okay.
How
I
about,
can print it
well, yeah, I was gonna say, how about you just give an address
and then I can mail it.
on a
or-
piece of paper here, you don't
I was
wanna,
gonna say, I got a piece of paper right here, Tracy.
Okay.
I'll get it.
and then you can write your address down and she'll send you a copy of that.
Yep. Cause then I have a map with the restricted roads too.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
He's correct. I mean, that little sticker with a number you can't see.
Mm-hmm. Not unless you're up
Oh, yeah.
on top of it.
It's
to
just a
it.
Sitting
little
there,
dig.
yeah.
Exactly.
And they usually come unglued when you get your cell phone out and start taking pictures. Been there, done that.
It's amazing, isn't it? So, but, yeah, DNR type sticker would really be a lot handier, but
Thanks, guys, that's really all I have.
Okay.
thank you for coming up, Daryl.
Sorry about that, Kristen.
No, you're fine, you're good, I'm learning some things. So for the claim payment, I'm not exactly sure, Haley, what I need to ask them.
We just need approval for this Oxy handwrite, because it fell between our normal claim period. We're gonna try to set up something so it can be done ACH automatically. That's the new program we went with.
If we do that, do they still have to sign it weekly?
It would go through like our payroll process,
Okay,
so they approve the payroll claims and claim registers
okay.
like every other or every other meeting.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure they get paid weekly, so how do we, would they have to sign that every single week, or can they give me permission to run it and then sign it after the fact?
You could probably run it because it'll be in the list of claims when they
Okay.
approve it.
So it'd just be like a week behind on the
Yeah.
one, okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
'cause I
because the
don't-
handbook, that's the bad thing. You guys are, by law, supposed to approve all of our checks. And if it's over 500 for a handwrite, if it's under 500 for certain reasons, we can do it without your authority, but this one is 2362.15.
And they'd still be signing off, it would just be about a week in
Yep.
arrears.
Yeah, it's always a week behind for what we're paying.
Oh,
so.
cool, okay.
So you need a motion to approve this
This handwrite to August.
handwrite this one time, then going forth, it'll be,
We're gonna work on getting this ACH set
Yes,
up,
okay.
and then it will
it'll show
run-
up in our claims.
Yeah, it'll show
Yep.
up in the
Good.
claims.
Yep, Melinda's gotta give you the right account numbers. and-
Yes.
So, making the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Initial that one too. And Alicia already has that, correct? Okay.
Yeah, yep,
All.
she does.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yep, here you go, Tracy.
I'll get that
Thank you
back
very
to
much.
Alicia.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
While you're initialing, these are the agenda for ARPA. The Raycom, it is something contract administration, and this is the rest of our website, which we're gonna launch the new website tomorrow.
Cool.
It's really nice. So like when I go to post an agenda, it'll automatically email, and I don't have to do it in 2 different places. There's a lot. So if you wanna sign these, she'll scan them, but you'll take action on them next week.
Okay.
Because that's when we pay, but that way if you initial them and she scans them in. Because the ARPA ones, like I said, I want all as separate motions next week. We already paid the down payment on that website. Mhm. If you go out and look, the parks too has, Ben did some drone footage, and it's pretty cool, they put that in there on the actual website. It's so much user friendlier for all of us to post.
Well, Shelby talked about somewhat of it last night. She was really happy about
Yeah,
it.
it's,
Are
yeah,
you
we
here
let each
for-
department get involved.
Okay. I thought you might be
He's for what? Rick?
for the union.
Okay.
Yep. Is that the sheriff's or the secondary roads?
Secondary roads.
Oh, wow. You're scheduled for 11
I was
o'clock.
scheduled for 11, but I was concerned that the meeting got over early. I came too late, so
Oh,
Sure.
I just thought I'd better show up and make sure I had an opportunity to visit with you.
good.
Any idea when Ben Bonner's coming in? or is it
Actually, I
just-
told him I didn't know if he had to.
Okay, so you're just
I
gonna
gave
do
you the
update.
report, and I can tell you what he had me do. Tim and I would, because I sent the maximum notice to the paper,
Mhm.
but, He wanted to carry over something about the motor vehicle line item, that the, whatever that machine he was gonna buy this fiscal year, they can't get it until like next September. So he wanted that spending authority
Is
for
that the chipper?
23.
Or
It was
Yeah,
the
or the skid loader.
$67,000 one, I don't know which,
which
can't
one?
remember what machinery it
The
was.
chipper.
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 Cause now it ain't gonna come till September.
But yet he's still, for the skid loader, he wants this current year.
Yeah.
So I said I would add that spending authority with your guys' permission to 23, but then I should be able to take it out of 22 for the re-estimated. Cause if he's not using it, current year. So I'm gonna adjust that line on it, and then I think next week we'll do that, if you approve that service area amendment for his skid loader. I gotta take it from service area 6 and put spending authority in service area 7.
Okay. Well, you don't have anything for an action item, but just the information.
No, but the budget item is for you guys, cause I told him
Sure.
I tweak it with you guys will say. But since that's a levied authority and I did tweak it, so.
Okay.
So is he coming in today or no?
No.
No, he just had emailed me and I said that was, I would explain to you what I did on his budget sheet, that's why I gave you a new sheet.
Okay. Okay.
So his budget's going up 150,000.
Yeah, with all of his tweaks. And then that 67 is for the, yeah, cause he put that other.
That's because you
employee.
move stuff around, isn't it?
No, it actually increased by that much.
Okay.
So what is the 150,000?
Well, he adjusted his insurance and pay and that equipment, and then for the extra employee is what he had done, didn't he? I think,
It's quite an adjustment.
from the original one that I gave you.
But if he doesn't get the employees, that is money not gonna be spent.
Right, but I
obviously.
still have to levy for it because
Of
it
course,
shows that.
of course.
That one isn't one where we
Yes.
have reserves in.
Mhm. Okay.
But an employee don't cost 150.
Well, if you're
No.
withholdings and all that,
You start throwing in, and then.
Be half of it.
you have to budget for their
Oh,
insurance and
I think it's gonna be
everything.
more than that, because insurance is 20.
Yeah. You have to plan, like, for a
Yeah.
family insurance would be 20 some, and
Exactly. Then your hyper, bike, so it's probably closer to 2/3 than you like to think.
He's gonna keep that employee around all the time.
Possibly.
What are they doing now?
I guess you'd have to talk to him, find out. It's like what secondary roads doing now.
Trimming trees.
All of them? We don't know that.
5 or 6 of them I know.
Yeah, but we don't know what each and every employee does
Yeah.
every day,
No.
day in, day out.
No,
And that's micromanaging.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that.
no, I'm not either.
You know, this job doesn't pay enough.
Well, I mean, from 1st of November till the 1st of
What'd he do last year?
April, we got another employee.
We had an intern last year. Yeah. Now he's an employee.
Full-time, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but it's a separate department. He's requesting a third, that doesn't mean he's gonna get it. But if he doesn't have spending authority, he sure as hell won't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what department we're talking about. So, conservation, if they don't put in their budget for somebody down at Hannon Lake, spending authority, you're not gonna get them hired.
Right.
Gary wants to put an application in.
Do you?
got a side-by-side he could use.
Uh-huh.
It won't be in hand and leg.
Yeah.
Well, Shelby, we can start a little bit early, you can talk slow
Sounds great.
for last night, eh?
Yeah. Oof.
Go a long way.
It was a long day. We had ranger reviews and then we had 20 minutes to get ready for the board meeting and then the board meeting went to 8, so it was just, yeah.
Why'd you have a voice today?
Me too, actually. I was starting to lose it last night, so. So we just resubmitted based on, the board vote, and we have a letter of, support from County Conservation Board, and they voted on the budget that we submitted, last night and approved it. And so the only change is, the salaries.
Do you have the new update on the insurance done in your budget?
Yeah, that's in there too, I'm sorry, yes, yep.
So the
So the new-
salaries, you left at the 10% too, right?
Yes, the salary stayed at the 10, and then the insurance benefit. The insurance actually, what we had budgeted for past years, the insurance actually made more of a difference than the salaries.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, we broke it out, and insurance actually costs more than the salary increases. Because we had lost so much tenure, we had such a buffer worked into our salaries, so it's not actually increasing that much. And I have a rough breakdown if you want to hear it.
Do you have her updated one?
Yep, the one I gave you guys last week.
Okay,
Unless
yeah.
she didn't change anything, she said,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
You
it's
guys
just
have the
salary.
most
Okay.
up-to-date
Just-
one.
Okay,
Yeah,
just basically move things around,
no, I added 2.
added,
Yep,
okay.
That one's the ones Haley said we got last week.
Yep, because her and I
You
already
updated.
talked before she went into her.
You'd have to look at,
Revised,
Yep,
Okay.
yep, that one.
yeah.
It's with the insurance alone, the insurance and benefits alone was $18,000, which was more than the salaries, which was around 17. But that's the total increase, so.
Okay, and then you're gonna have your FICA.
But yeah, that was all worked into the total. Yeah, I had insurance with benefits, including FICA at 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
did you see that state thing I sent you too? That you might be able to apply
Yeah.
for more?
Yes, and I emailed him.
Perfect.
so shouldn't we vote on that?
You don't-
Doesn't say that we have
Well,
to take.
We don't
We
have
probably
to?
should maybe for the wages since we didn't include them in the original motion.
You don't have it as an action.
I know I don't, but I guess we can still do that formally, since they were commissioned employees. Remember that motion said non-commissioned employees, so.
Right. So.
But as long as I can put it on for an action item, but if you approve our budget, like, we'll
So
approve it
you-
at the budget hearing too, I guess.
You need a motion to amend their,
Board's recommendation.
okay,
Or accept the board's
Yeah,
recommendation? Or
probably just accept it.
accept the
board's
board's
vote?
recommendation
The board's yeah, cause it originally was that.
for their budget,
Mhm.
okay, all right. Well then, so moved.
Fantastic.
Gary,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then while I'm here, just a really quick update, I don't know if you told them or yet, Tracy, we do have an offer pending for the ranger position already, so, they accepted, and we just gotta get the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy paperwork rolling. Make sure, you know, they're not a felon running on aliases or something, but
So are they, certified?
they are not. Yep. Our, we've been, as Tippett has touched on, we've been fighting for certified people, across the state, really. And, one of our certified applicants that would have had a pretty good chance went to Story County, and then we just took Tama County's #1 from them. That's why I made the offer so quick. So Tama County's now fighting to get a good applicant also, so it's county conservation and
Kinda like
sheriff's
the
department.
sheriff said, you just steal from one county to the other.
Not one county, he's been trying to steal mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
no,
well,
no. So, yeah, it's a battle out there to try to get applicants, but I think we're gonna be happy with this one, so.
Yeah.
He blended well. The entire staff sat in the interview, so it was probably a little overwhelming for some people.
When would the start date be?
I'm hoping by end of March, if not sooner.
Oh, it wasn't for Saturday, was it?
No, but he will be there, so.
So he does have to go to the academy?
Yes, he does have to go to the academy. We already got a spot reserved in January, and
Yep.
I'm glad we put that in there.
How long is that?
16 weeks.
Yeah, that's,
It's grueling.
what does that cost now?
With clothing and the whole 9 yards, I think, the last one was like 7,900-ish.
Almost 8.
Yeah, it's about 8. This one will probably be about 8, right in there. I know.
So when's he gonna be on site working?
Hopefully by March, but, he'll have a bit of a commute. They gotta relocate. And then, cause we took him from another county conservation board. And then, he'll be going in January and then be back full time, so.
But 16 weeks is 4 months.
Yeah, yep, so he'll be gone January to April next year.
Oh, okay, next year.
Yes. Right now Cecilia's stationed down there for the most part. So she's getting the place within the shade for ice fishing and all of that, so she reports there. That way none of the parks are left alone. Well, partially reports there, so.
Is the shop heated down there, the little room?
The office section
Yeah.
is, and then there's like a wood stove heater, and then there's a cold,
You heat it with wood? Not the office?
not the office.
The
Okay.
office is baseboard.
Baseboard? Oof,
It's bad.
okay,
It's not a
okay.
good setup.
So how long have you been down there?
Me, since January.
Yeah, we'll call him up.
I was gonna say he left in December, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, January 14th.
Okay. I don't-
I mean, she's been with us on staff for almost a year.
Almost a year.
Thank you.
Before.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I'd like to see happen at Hannon Lake. I'd like to see a new flag put up and the flagpole straightened
Yeah,
whenever you get a chance.
it definitely needs it.
And I'd like to see the thistles, Canadian thistles cleaned up on the upper campsite, be on the west side of the lake, clear in the back.
Up on the hill,
Yep,
Baldy,
there's Canadian thistles all along the east side.
the east side on the west side. Part of the hill. Sorry.
They ain't new, they've been
You know,
up there for 5
that's something
years.
your New ranger, park ranger's gonna have to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
She
definitely.
isn't going to.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too damn cold.
well, they ain't gonna, you can't kill them now anyway.
Well, it's hard to reset a flagpole when this is cold and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we gotta fix the mailbox. We got a handful of things. She's been tinkering on all the things she can get to in this weather and yeah, it's like a brand new shop down there. Cardboard shop. I don't know. She's got the inside cleaned up nice.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So when's when's the work gonna start on the new place?
I don't wanna let it out, and
Yeah,
give her any hope.
yeah, we don't want, we gotta,
I'm
we gotta sit
hoping
down.
middle of summer.
Oh, it'd be this year.
Oh, definitely. You didn't know that, did you?
No.
It's in the works.
Tracy and I gotta sit down and hash out a few
Mhm.
things, and we gotta get some numbers together and whatnot.
Okay.
I think that's everything, unless you guys got any other questions or follow-up, or?
No, that's about it.
I sent her an email from the state, even though the counties have their ARPA funds. The statewide has ARPA funds, and they're talking about dispersing even more out for different projects. Conservation was one of them that was available, so she's gonna send in some requests.
Yep.
And if the governor and stuff, they go through the list and might approve that.
So they're gonna send ARPA funds out to every county?
Well, it's just kind of in the works right now, right?
Yeah,
They were
it's
just,
for specific projects.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna really push the whole, shower houses, bathrooms.
yep.
Are new radios part of a project?
No, that wasn't one. This one was specific more for conservation use
Yeah.
and stuff. So that would be in addition to what we already have, so.
So how much money they got?
I didn't say.
I was just watching on legislation last week. It's still in a big pot and they're
Well,
just
if
trying
she
to
can
decide
get
how
it
to
from the
divide.
state, then there
separate.
wouldn't be any sense getting it
Well,
from the
that's just it,
county.
if she got
Yeah.
approved, yeah.
Which then
Yeah,
that
if-
could be applied towards radios.
You have to remember though, I am going to be competing with
Yeah, other big
Johnson, Story,
counties.
Blackhawk, Lynn.
But hopefully they look at us little counties and know we need
Yeah.
the tax relief too.
But you're good at competing because you've already pulled some employees away from it.
We're working on it.
You
So-
dangled a new shop in front of his nose and.
Yeah, right. He did ask what projects we were looking at, and we showed him, and we said, I mean, you're gonna be a point of contact for this, and I didn't seem to phase him one bit,
So he'll
so.
live up at Hannon then too.
What's that?
He'll live there at Hannon.
There isn't any housing at Hannon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
So there won't be.
that'd be nice, cause it is, there's not a huge renting market around there or anything like that, so. That's why we changed it within 30 minutes preferred. So then, and we didn't state anything about county, so that way they could live in Marengo, they could, you know, live in Blairstown, live in Belle Plaine, as long as they're close.
Last
Do you have any
year,
farmhouses down there?
Yeah, I was
Gary?
gonna say, Gary.
most all of them are getting taken out.
Yeah, that's the downside.
We don't want anybody out there. That's
Reduce
what
taxes,
happens.
Nice and welcome.
The wind got a lot of them last year.
Right, right.
And then, you know, every once in a while, there's a fire.
Damn.
Well, there's
Might
two
wanna
of them.
strike that from the recording.
Yeah, right.
There's two of them within a mile of our house that are gone. People just didn't want them anymore.
Oh, sure. Yeah, like they think that it's not worth the upkeep or fixing it up, I guess, yeah.
They've been gone for a while now, but there's gonna be some more of them go, you know, I mean, that storm took some of them.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Well, they're a hassle. I mean, by the time you get somebody in there and then they don't pay their rent and then they don't clean up,
Mhm. Yep.
it's just, it gets to be a hassle.
Well, if you guys know of any places, let us know.
I know of a place that they could buy.
Yeah.
There's a place north of 30, about a mile and a half. It needs a bunch of work.
Oh, sure.
And they want,
I was just wondering if that's where the highway's going through.
no, it's
Yes, sell it to them and be like, never mind.
it's a mile and a half north and the highway's going to the south.
Yeah, I know.
It won't ever go to the north because there's those fiber optic line, there's a fiber optic line on the north side.
Awesome. Can you see anything?
Does this person have a family and kids?
No kids yet,
Okay.
but.
Married,
Mhm.
possibility of down the road.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that, what kind of housing? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, it sounds like that is in their future.
Okay.
They prefer.
Okay, enough said.
Yep. I don't know if they have dogs. I don't know.
We
Good.
need to ask that next time.
Yes, we do.
What are your pets?
We
Okay,
did have one ranger that had a mastiff.
wow,
In her
a
head.
horse, a horse.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, thanks Shelby.
Yep, thank you guys.
We ain't gonna vote on that budget or nothing, right?
Well, I mean, you don't on individual budgets until the
Yep.
budget
Yep,
year.
yep,
So,
yep.
but now's the time if you guys are gonna do any adjustments or cutting around, that's when you have the option to call back departments and do
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Otherwise, right now, I
Yeah,
included
like-
the worst case scenario, 'cause the maximum levy notice is in the paper this week.
Did you have a look at what it was before the adjustment?
Yeah, here, I'll give you the
On the
report.
weed?
Yeah.
I got it.
What was it before?
No. 22-23 was 529.17 and change.
How many revised ones did we have?
You had two for now. So make sure
Actually-
you look at the date, I just ran one.
Okay, I was gonna say actually 3 then.
Yeah, oh yeah, actually, there was two.
Yeah, there's
He kept changing stuff.
several of these departments do revised. Gets confusing. One just left.
Yeah, they only at least, that was their second one.
Yeah. The hell did I put that? Right there.
$131, $228.
Actually, they had,
228. You got the
four
same.
thirty-five, 891, 51, and they're asking for 588.
They had previous estimate for 22-23 was 520,917. Up $68,000, which sounds like the price of,
The chipper.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I just added today.
Okay, and
So-
then, and then you took the 60-some thousand off of this year's estimated?
Well, I'm gonna take it off the re-estimated in that line item,
Okay,
his current budget, he has 435, 891, 51 total.
Correct.
So I'll subtract that amount, but then, maybe, I don't know, maybe I won't have to if he's asking for an amendment, maybe we leave it and let him use that for the amendment, I don't know.
Which would be simpler, wouldn't it?
It's a different service area, but yeah, so.
Yeah.
so we had it anyway. No. Oh. So 228.
Did either of you need to look at this bonded stuff? You've got an email.
Yeah, I got an email.
Okay. but
I have
printed
an
it off.
alternate too.
Okay.
And then he's given his employees, I wrote on here on the first one, 6% raise.
Right,
That he
So he had to
tweaked it,
adjust
He
it.
adjusted that,
He did.
and the insurance.
I wrote down 5.9.
Really? It don't much matter, cause now he's going 10. So you're suggesting that we leave the.
I'm just saying I might reduce spending authority in these other line items. Well, he's asking for 38 something, so maybe I can reduce the difference for the re-estimated because he wants to buy that skid loader this current year. And I don't remember what that fully was, do you?
He never actually had a good price.
That,
Last
I mean,
time
I'm
we-
not gonna physically go in and
No, I understand.
change it, it's just how
Yeah,
I.
I was thinking last time we was here, didn't we tell him get different prices for different brands?
I think we did.
I think he was going out there to find stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
Cause he was dealing with a company out of Des Moines.
So I know he said he'd still be
Ames
willing to
and-
sit down with you and me and
Okay,
look at stuff before we
Okay.
do an amendment.
And I
Okay.
think he's also talking to, is it Titan?
yep,
Yeah.
that's in Butterstown.
Yeah.
That
Well,
he would actually,
that's farm down there.
that
Titan
gets,
would be Center Point.
they're of the same.
Well, I realize, but one
Yeah.
handles different equipment, you know, more.
They're in more
construction.
industrial,
Yeah.
yep.
And skid loader could be either way,
Mhm.
obviously, so,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Well, it won't be this week now. I wanted to do it yesterday,
Yeah.
but,
That's okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play around with mine, but
okay,
it's something before maybe I'll look at a detail, maybe we won't have to do a service area amendment if we leave that other spending authority, but then I'll just know to reestimate my fund balance at the
I
end.
just want him to show me where he had spending authority.
Yeah, he did on this.
You got 72.5 for skid loader.
He's taking it from those FICA, IPERS, Medicare, health, for 38,000. But see how I explained the service area 6?
That was the old one. That's the old one here.
So it'd be out of 0002, or no, that one is 11. Fund 11.
Plain old 11.
Mhm.
Twenty-four, 610.
Haley, this celebration of Ag Solon, I think I saw your email to those folks. Is that correct?
The what is it?
The celebration of Ag
Oh, yep,
out of Solon? Yeah, I saw your email,
they get us all that, yeah.
yeah, where,
They'll mail it, sometimes we'll email it, so.
See, when you start looking at what he's got and what it says, it's two different things.
Mhm. You get my-
No, I'm just showing you that.
Well, he's just taken that much out of the spending, so I think that he had extra for an employee or something. 'Cause
Okay.
they didn't take the health
And
insurance.
we got 610, 1111, 1111. We had 15,000 budgeted.
Yep, so he wants to subtract 10,000 of that out. So we still gotta leave some in those line items, but that's what those total. And then he wanted me to add that cushion to
Health
this line
insurance,
item.
113.
Then you gotta look at the function, if it's 60-10 or 60-20.
20,000.
oops.
Oh,
Darryl,
it kicked
you
it.
let please?
Yeah, he kicked us,
Yeah, there's a
Wedge.
wooden block down there.
Oh, that,
kicked a wedge.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
that goes in there?
But then if I leave that.
Yeah, we got
other line
reasons for
item,
everything,
maybe I
yeah.
don't have to change these,
No.
but then I'll just change my bottom dollar for the re-estimated
Yeah.
column at that amount.
Okay.
And then he might have spending authority.
I think last year's budget, he was still halfway with secondary roads.
He was.
And this is his first attempt this year, and he's struggling. Not easy.
Shouldn't be that tough.
Okay.
Shouldn't. I mean, he knows what he spent on all this stuff, whether it's secondary roads or weed commission.
But it's kind of like skid loader, that's secondary road.
He's got one budgeted in here.
I know. That's what changes, or what inflates the budget too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy that conservation's got one, secondary roads has one. You're gonna have one with the weed department. My God, how many skid loaders do we need?
One for everybody.
Evidently.
My skid loader, I got two of them. One of them's a 1973. That was before they had cages. Wasn't an option.
Yeah. You're supposed to operate those only on flat surfaces.
I wanted to ask you, how long do you think that that's been approved, like, to ride those around? How long do you think that's been?
Well, I've been on the board for 5 years.
Pull it up too
It
for
was
you.
Hurdle and Breeze.
Oh, okay.
Yep, here, it's under our ordinances too, I don't know if you're
I
familiar
think
with our
Todd Wiley
website.
was on,
No.
I think.
I don't know.
Do you want me to see if I can get one of the
If
girls
not,
in the
it'd been
off building to
Jason.
print one for you and you can look at it in here?
I
I can just take it with me.
Yep.
didn't we approve that whenever we were first on?
No.
No. No. Well, I remember Terry coming talking to me about it, 'cause I have four-wheelers, but I don't drive them to town.
You know, also, I think the city of Norway, if you guys are looking for a chipper, that, I think we have a chipper that we're looking to get rid of.
Really?
Yeah. If you want to contact City Hall,
Okay,
get a hold of Lindy or
okay,
Bruce.
all right.
I know we had one, I think we were
All right.
going to get rid of it.
We'll put you in a hot seat right there.
Right here?
You
All
bet.
right.
I don't know
No,
if we
it's up
want
to
it or
him.
not.
It's up to you. If you feel comfortable wearing it, you can.
I don't need to, I wear it to just protect the people that
Okay.
I'm serving, so as long as everyone's okay with it, I'll take it off.
Yeah, did you see on the news, New York City, let 1,400 employees go because they weren't vaccinated? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Johnson County, okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Johnson
Thank
County's gonna
You are
go till
welcome.
May 15th.
Okay.
Yeah. I heard that on the radio this morning.
Are you gonna print that off for me
Yep,
right
I
now?
just sent it to Kirsten and asked her to print it.
Cool.
I actually have a folder where I've kept track,
Mm-hmm.
and I have other counties' ordinances as well, in some of the cities, so.
That'd be great, thank you.
I'm not so sure that it wouldn't be a good idea to have a printer in here.
Yeah, I don't think we could justify the cost.
I usually print stuff ahead of time when I know for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see, I
I know
have,
Ben always says he'd like to have one printer in this building and then everybody just send it to it and go get it, but,
I have ATV traffic conditions
you know, when you
report.
start
Makes
looking at.
sense.
I know it, but I mean, the employees won't be happy because everybody have to go walk to.
Yeah. And then you're gonna run into some confidential problems with, you know, HIPAA. Pick a department here,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
they all might work on the same client but can't talk about it.
Let me go see if she's got it.
You wanna ask her too if she's coming in at 10:30?
Sure.
How old is this chipper?
We bought it used, probably had it for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years, but I think they've only used it like once or twice, they never use it. So, why do we have it? I said, why do we have it if we're never gonna use it? So I think they were looking to get rid of it. So, I mean, Mike is the maintenance guy, you know more about it. I don't know what they're asking for it. They said that they never use it.
worst part of it with them chippers is, well, I don't know about, where we're gonna put the stuff, but if you gotta have a truck, you pull the chipper, and then you gotta have a truck, and then you got stuff to get rid of. And maybe they'll just blow in the ditch, I don't know.
Well, I think that's what they were talking about with this. Well, it's not a tonner, it's just a little bit bigger than a tonner. And having the spray equipment that they could set on and off and put a box on it to catch all the chippings and such. You know, we were talking about having some of that. That's what he said that day in here.
Then we just blew our stuff in the back of the city truck and took it down to the lagoon, and they just dumped it down there, I believe.
Sure. Well, he doesn't have a dump truck. So,
He probably will have one.
no, I doubt it.
All you gotta do is just turn the chute.
We're timed items, so 10 o'clock is
Yep,
your turn,
that's
so.
fine.
You just turn the chute toward the ditch. Keep it moving if the pile gets too big. Supposed to get that stuff when it's small, so there ain't nothing. That's why we go around everything, and there ain't no trees growing. We even get them out of the neighbors a little bit if we can. Otherwise, you got a mess. We got one farm. I could spend a week just in the perimeter. We got a mile around the outside. It's all growing full of crap.
Well, that's them, so they blowing in them suckers, they just start growing.
Here's that ordinance for you.
All right, thank you.
It's sure it didn't cover, but there is some restricted roads, but it does describe them in here as well. so. And that's just the county-wide, so like the individual cities, you have to get it from them.
Okay.
Okay, Nathan, we're close enough.
And they've gotten all what you sent me yesterday,
Okay,
so.
sounds good. I also just passed out a packet. There's at least one updated item in there. I just included the updated debt model that you all been used to seeing from me. The handout that's on top there, should say sources and uses of funds at the top, basically outlines how the bond proceeds will be used. So the par amount, or the principal amount that you're borrowing, is just over $5 million, so $5,025,000. You can see there's an item there listed as premium. I'll get into what that is here in just a moment. But we sized the bond issue so that you'll wind up with exactly $5.2 million in your project fund. Cost of issuance and underwriter's discount, those are just some of the legal and financing fees that you have to incur when you go to issue bonds. There's an additional proceeds there of just over $1,000. That's just a rounding amount because we have to size the denominations to the nearest $5,000. So you're gonna have some kind of a rounding amount there that's less than $5,000. And that'll wind up getting dumped in your project fund as well, or you can use it to make your first bond payment. Any questions on the first page there for now? Flip to the second page. The biggest item to note here is just a bunch of the bond statistics. The true interest cost is I think it's the sixth item down. That basically takes into account the interest rate that the county is paying plus some of the financing fees that are associated. Came in at a 1.929%. And as we'll see in a little bit, that's a really on the market number. We can tie that out to a few different bond issues that were in the market yesterday. Page 3 shows the bond debt service. So you'll start making your payments of first interest payment December 1st of 22, and you'll make the first principal payment. So the interest payments are semi-annual, principal payments are annual. So make that first annual principal payment June 1st of 23. So we're working with Haley to make sure that we get that all into the budget correctly, so that you use your debt service levy to collect everything you need to make the debt service payment.
I printed that page to show you today too, so I think I'm good.
Perfect. If you flip to page 4, this is the last one I cover in this packet. There's that premium amount on the sources and uses of funds, and I wanted to explain where that's coming from. So you can see the amounts there, the principal payments, the annual principal payments. The coupon rate is 3%, so that's how the interest payments are calculated on the bonds. Each of those maturities are separate bonds that investors could buy. So an investor might own the June 1st, 2024 maturity, $680,000. The county's going to pay them a 3% coupon, so an annual interest rate of 3%. That yield column represents more of what the bond market interest rate is for that length of maturity. So you think about CDs at the bank. You know, the longer CD that you have, the higher interest you're going to get paid by the bank, hopefully. Same concept applies here. So investors, the further out they go, the longer their money's tied up, the higher interest rate they want to receive. So looking at the 2024 maturity, there's a 3% coupon rate, but the yield represents the actual bond market interest rate, so 1.28%. So for the investor to make the county whole, because you're paying that higher coupon rate, the investor is going to pay you on the far right-hand side 103.736% of the face value of the bonds at closing. So they're going to pay more than the principal amount of the bonds that they're going to get repaid by the county. So those prices are all over 100. So the investors are all paying the county more than the face value of the bonds. So that's where that premium shows up. And that's how you get to the $5.2 million in your project fund, even though the face value of the bonds is $5,025,000. So that's where that premium amount is coming from. Any questions about that? So that's, and that tick, that.
It's just as clear as mud.
Sure.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
1.94%, that's
Yeah.
the bottom line, that's the blended interest rate when you take into account the 3% coupon and the yields and the price that the investors are paying the county. That 1.92% is kind of the blended interest rate, and that's really all that matters to you.
That's basically what we are paying.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep, and you'll wind up with the 5.2 million in your project fund. Okay? So if you pull out that second sheet I've got in front of you, the best one to point to, I've got 3 comparable sales on here. The 2 that are kind of have the black background are pretty stale, and interest rates have been going up over the past couple months pretty steadily. But this top one is for Gilbert Community School District. They sold a little over $8 million of bonds yesterday. And if you look at the column that you want to look at here is the price or basis column. It's about a third of the way over from the left. If you look at that price or basis, that's effectively the yields that the investors were demanding. And if you put our yields for Benton County on top of the Gilbert yields, you'll see that we're just right on top of it. Same rating. The Gilbert deal is a little bit bigger, which typically they should have a little bit more momentum in their favor. So I view this as pretty favorable that we were able to price basically right on top of a deal that was bigger and probably a little bit more attractive for that reason. So just kind of like real estate, there's no real apples to apples when you compare 2 different municipal bond issues. They've all got their nuances and intricacies, but the best that we can do is pull something out of the market and say this is pretty darn close, and you'll see that we priced it kind of right on top of it. So that's kind of the dollars and cents of the bond issue, the pricing process. Any questions on that front?
So you still think we can lock it in below 2%?
This is done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
this is done.
Well, it's done.
It's done.
We're locked in.
Yep.
The 1.9 2.4.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what he sold yesterday.
Yep, which is good, because, I mean, interest rates are still, every day, they're going up another 0.05%, just kind of clipping along. They have been for the last couple weeks.
Yep, because we got our rating. It was last week too, wasn't it?
Yeah, yep.
So it is locked in,
So, yeah, the rate's locked in, that's done.
but you ain't got nobody locked in to borrow the money yet though, right?
That's what we've done, is we've marketed the bonds to
Yep.
investors.
So you got the bond even marketed already?
Yep,
Yep, we did that last week
You
when we got
missed
that
out.
rating. Yep.
Okay.
See, we've been doing all this behind the scenes stuff, haven't we, Nate?
yeah, we've been working hard. The third item in your packets there that I handed out is kind of the landscape. This is probably familiar, I sent this to Haley, I think we talked around this a little bit. Valuation history is on the front page, you can just see the trend line of your actual and taxable valuation. The second page shows the principal payments only. So you can see your principal payments on the bond as it relates to your debt capacity, which is 127 million, which hopefully you're never going to touch that. And with this issue, we're only using up 4% of your debt capacity. So that's kind of a moot point. Probably the biggest question or concern for the board is on page 3, shows the principal and interest payments combined. As that relates to your taxable valuation, that's how we get to the debt service levy. So you can see the debt service levy, we've got it at about 46 cents. Assuming that your taxable valuation doesn't grow at all, which I presume hopefully over the next 5 to 7 years it will continue to grow. And that debt service levy will shrink as your valuation goes up.
Yep, I
That
have
levy will go down.
.46563 in my state budget, so.
Perfect, we're right on the nose, yep. Okay, and then page 4, it's kind of a handy table that we use to help relay to the average taxpayer how does this impact my property taxes. So on a residential property, you can see for $100,000 of assessed valuation, which we all know is not what they actually pay taxes on, it's what the assessor assesses the property at. When you apply the rollback, take out the homestead credit, gets you to a net taxable value of about $50,000. You apply that estimated debt service levy, gets you to about $23 per year per $100,000 of residential valuation. And then we can do the same for commercial property at $250,000 of assessed valuation. Property tax impact is going to be about $105. Ag land, I used $1,900 of assessed valuation, gets you to about 79 cents per acre on an annual basis of tax increase. So not much actual, when you say, a $5 million bond issue, that's a lot of money. A lot of people go, man, our taxes
Yeah,
Mm.
many
surely
show
gonna,
that.
surely gonna skyrocket, but it's, when you look at it on an annual basis and you actually apply it to a real world property, you can see it's not actually that much in the grand scheme of things, so. That helps us kind of relate that information a little bit better.
Too bad you don't have a little sheet like that for us to cheat on for every fund we have, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can share the template with you if you
Then
want.
you guys could explain it that way.
Yeah. I can share the template with you if you want.
That'd be great.
Sure, yeah. It's all Excel, so you can.
Perfect. I'll definitely use that.
Sure. The last sheet here is just the remaining timeline, so we've gotten the bonds marketed and sold. Haley did a great job on the call with Moody's. We asked a lot of information over,
Yeah,
she did a lot
I
of.
felt like I was in the hot seat. There was like, well, I don't know how many of you, and I was sitting there answering all kinds of questions,
Yep.
so.
So she did a great job of fielding all of Moody's questions. The county got a AA3 rating, which we were talking about. That's a really good, solid rating for a county of your size valuation. It just is an attestation to how the financial condition of the county is just in really good shape. And Haley's doing a really good job of kind of running things and did a good job of answering questions. One thing you can compare, looking at counties across the state, you're at a AA3 rating, which is, you got AAA, there's AA1, AA2, AA3. So AAA is like the state of Iowa and Polk County. Another AA3 rated county is Woodbury County, which obviously they're even bigger than you guys. They're gonna have a lot more valuation. They've got Sioux City. But you were able to get kind of the same credit rating as a bigger county. So like I said, I think that speaks to the financial management of the county. And ultimately, that's what drives down interest rates, is that strong bond rating. So, yeah, bonds are marketed today. We're asking you to approve the bond purchase agreement that you've got from Dorsey and Whitney. You've got a resolution to consider that. At your March 1st meeting, we'll ask you to authorize issuance of the bonds, and then we'll be ready to close on March 15th. And that's the date when we actually send a wire to the county and you've got funds in your
Yep.
bank account that you can spend.
Yep, even though we don't have it, we didn't have to levy this current year. So if we need to start paying forward on that project, then we can, so. Right, come spring when all the grounds breaking happens.
That's all I've got for you. Any questions or concerns?
None here.
Nope, we're gonna have to take
Yep,
action to
Another
approve the
resolution.
resolution of approving the bond purchase agreement.
yep, and then the signing of the documentation.
Okay, I'll make that motion,
Second.
and it also
By resolution.
approves the signing of Trevor, aye.
Beershank, aye.
Seaman, aye.
I'll put this on.
Well, that was easy, 5.3 million.
Easy for you guys. Haley did a lot of work
That's right.
getting things ready.
Yeah,
I earned my pay.
Yeah.
You want to sign your name on those three?
My name or just
Yep,
anybody's name?
You will. Preferably yours.
put your neighbors down. Daryl's
And then
here,
I'll
have him
scan all
sign it.
this back today
Yeah.
to
that'd
both
be
you
great.
and Dorsey.
Wow. That's a chunk of change.
Yeah, frankly, with essential county purpose stuff, the Iowa code makes it pretty easy. You just have to hold the public hearing and
Well, and like
approve
this
the offer
one,
document and then you can sell the bonds.
most bonds you have to have a vote, but since it's for emergency services, we didn't have to.
You get them or he gets them?
He'll get those and then you'll have to sign this one too.
My name?
Yep, and this one.
I just need the originals of these.
Okay. Then I'll scan all this to you.
Perfect. Yeah, scans, that's fine for me.
Yep.
Just return it to Dorsey.
So does that give us some guidance as to what we should be charging for financing interest?
Oh, I asked him that on the phone. I
Yeah.
was telling him like the 1.5 or 1.2. That's pretty much spot on, didn't you think?
I'd say, yeah, it's a 5-year loan, right?
Okay, but this, my question is, because we're doing some advancing of funds to different organizations, is this fair to say that what we pay is what we should
But
receive?
this particular one was a little different than what, because the regular going rate, didn't we think it was 1.5, like comparing it to, what'd you compare it to another county or something yesterday?
I mean, I think what I was asking was, so this is a 7-year bond, how long do you?
Well, the one you said five
One, we're
years,
doing 5, and I think
and then we might have a
the
special
fire truck, I
assessment.
think, was the same.
Yep, those two were 5.
Is the interest cheaper on a 5-year? Probably.
Yeah, so.
Oh, it is?
Theoretically, the shorter you go, the lower the interest rate. You know, if you think about borrowing like a 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage, you're gonna pay less interest on the 15-year mortgage, so.
Really?
So if you.
Well,
think about
overall,
that-
you would, that is correct, but the interest rate, would that be
Yeah,
smaller?
the interest rate's usually a little bit smaller
Okay,
as you go shorter, yeah.
okay.
So I
So
think it
probably something a little south of the 1.92, I would say that's a fair assumption
Okay.
for you folks to.
Because I think we
charge.
kind of threw out 1.5 the other day, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, up to.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say that's,
And then we could use that for that special assessment for the road probably too.
1.5 or 1.75,
Yep.
something,
Yeah.
depending on how generous you want.
Which, I mean, that's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
I can't borrow money that cheap. So,
Did you wanna look at my budget sheet quick?
I'm happy to if you want
Okay.
me to. Yeah.
I have it pulled up here. But otherwise, you'll be back on the
15th.
15th then, in person or not? You don't have to come in that one.
I'm not planning to.
Okay.
I can
Nope.
sure dial in if you want me to.
I didn't know if we had to have him or.
Oops. Yeah, so March 1st is kind of just a formality. Dorsey and Whitney will send you a resolution that just authorizes the issuance of the bonds.
Correct.
And then closing is way less, it's way more anticlimactic than people are like, oh, you know, if you think about closing on a piece of real estate, everybody's
All the
signing, all the signing and stuff.
Sign
We
right
really
away.
we send you a wire, and then you confirm that you received the wire, and there's an entity that we make a phone call, and we say, hey, they've got the money, and they say, okay, it's closed.
Sweet.
So it takes about 5 minutes.
So I put that initial, because we don't have any debt in here.
Right.
And then the principal, interest. It matched that page
630.
3. Yep. And then when I put it onto the levy, it's,
812,575. Yep.
okay, so then it showed that levy, like you said.
Yeah, that one that you read off to
Yep.
me, that should,
Yep.
that matched what I had, so.
So I think I'm good there.
So then in future years, if you go back to the debt page.
Yep.
There's a
Good down on the other
There's a
page.
bond registration
Yep.
too.
Oh.
So that's for
For that other
there's
fee.
the paying agent,
Yep, I can
is-
put that there.
the OKF, they keep track of all, because after these get sold initially, investors can buy, sell, and trade them amongst each other. And so the county doesn't have to keep track of everybody that owns the bonds. There's a paying agent that keeps
Ah.
track of that.
Okay.
So there's an annual fee on that, it's like
And then I
$500.
would put that there. I see
You
that
can
on
put
the
that in
cities
there.
then when
And you-
I
Yeah,
do those.
yep, and you can put our dissemination agent fee on
On
there as
that
well in
too.
the future. Yeah.
Sweet, okay,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
looks like you're good.
perfect, thanks.
All that's included the first year, like the paying agent,
Yep.
that's all in the,
Okay, but
cost
then
of
next
insurance.
year it'll be broken down a
so
little.
then next year you'll wanna include it, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That was painless, wasn't it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've got the top 2 brackets on that sheet of taxable.
Well, thank you all for the business. If there's ever anything we can do to be helpful in the future, let us know.
Yes.
Really, I'll send you that template though.
Okay, that'd be great, and then I'll get this over today, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks for your help
Thank you
too.
all.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later. Oh, is that your coat?
Yep, sure is. Thank you.
Yep,
Might be nicer than mine, you can leave it.
I'll probably see you at
Could've sold
the
it back to
ISAC
him.
probably, if you'll be there.
Yeah,
March 8th through
In
the
March,
9th,
yeah.
yep.
that's right. Yeah, I'll be there.
See you later.
You bet.
Highway 30 took out a bunch of houses down our way too.
Daryl said helping you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Got Becker's, got the one at the corner there in Blairstown.
Like I said, I didn't see any, like,
Thompson's.
I have like
There's another
Buchanan,
one.
Lynn, Iowa County, but for his city of Norway, yeah, they would have to do their own.
Sure.
It got about 3 a mile.
What year was that ordinance passed? Do you remember?
Yeah,
You don't have to look it up, just
Open forum?
it was in,
Okay. Where you want us? Anywhere?
anywhere you wanna go.
16, 15, 16, because I did it, but I was deputy.
15, 16?
Mhm. That's when all the reading, or when all the
Okay.
action was taking place.
Okay.
Do you want a copy of it emailed to you?
When did that?
Yeah, just email it to me, don't
Okay.
print it off.
Yeah, to each of us, that'd be great.
Yeah, it was in May of 16.
Okay.
And then the map is what we had restrictions on, because we had Myron and the ATV traffic thing. We did off the counts, and that's when he highlighted on what areas you can go on.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a copy of that.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's on our website as well, but I'll email you guys.
I remember when it was on the talking stage, I remember. 'cause
Yeah.
Well, and there's something at legislation right now, at the state level.
Is there?
Yeah. They're trying to pass a new bill, so it's statewide that you can travel on all county roads. But then each county that would have their own would supersede the state, vice versa.
Oh, it would?
Yeah, I think so.
No kidding. Instead of the state superseding
I
county.
think, yeah, because I think we still have our
It's kinda
restrictions on
backwards,
certain
isn't it?
county roads,
Huh.
where they're opening up county roads.
Okay,
But it's my understanding, yeah, we can still restrict
do
certain
some
ones.
restrictions.
That makes sense.
Well, if
And then the
state
cities,
doesn't-
then the cities, like Benton opens up, so it just kind of works its way down.
If the state does it, they may require some sort of identifications other than a little sticky.
Well, you're supposed to, you can get, like, for the recorder, you have to pay your registration fees.
Other than just a
Oh,
little,
you want more than,
something visible.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have in the city something that the four-wheelers would know that they're restricted on those streets.
Well, they're supposed to know,
good area,
like in Benton, you're not to travel
talking about our ATV ordinance.
up the boulevard, you know, on 4th Street. You stay off that golf cart, for example, yeah. So, there's just no way anybody can pass you. You get on there and you're driving 10 mile an hour, well, somebody behind you's gonna follow you the whole length of that street. But everybody abides by that, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an
you're not
ordinance,
supposed
so.
from
if
dusk-
That's right. I
Yeah.
mean.
Dusk
that's
to
what they're talking
dawn,
about.
you can't be out in the dark either, on ours.
My four-wheeler don't have a speedometer,
There you go, see?
but I know it goes about 70.
Snowmobiles can go on our nature trails, but why can't ATVs?
That was discussed last night.
I mean, really, we're not gonna tear them up any more than a
Well,
snowmobile.
and then, so if that can do it, why can't a dirt bike?
Exactly. That's
How
where I
about a
think,
motorized
I think you guys
bicycle?
need to open it back up, and then if you allow them on the trails, they'll stay off the roads.
You know, they allow electric bicycles, so why not one with a wind? All sorts of things.
Can you go on, like, Garrison Trail?
No.
With a,
With the Rangers
With
and
the what?
ATV? Mm-mm.
No,
That's restricted. That's where I'm saying, people always question why they can't, but snowmobiles can.
yep.
Well, you guys have the
You
power to change that ordinance.
You just drive across those bridges with the car or pickup and it's no big deal.
well, they used to go across them with a train.
If it's not wide enough, just tear out the railing.
I don't even know if, did they catch the person that did that?
I don't know.
Yes, the car was there.
Oh, it was still
Oh,
there?
it was still there?
Yes, the car was still there, and they had insurance,
Oh,
That's a plus.
well, that's good.
so
That's for
discussed
sure.
that last night too, so.
Oh, your conservation, yeah.
So how bad was the car? Yeah, they got,
I don't know.
I don't think that's wide enough to get a car across now.
It
No,
wasn't
that's
wide
why-
enough to get
That's
across.
That's why the
It
car was
stopped
still
it
there.
abruptly.
Oh, well.
I can't understand why you'd take a car down that, but
I don't know. I was only 18 once. So. Just waiting for the clock to tick. Is Ron coming in today?
I think so, he was meeting with somebody at 10 o'clock, I don't know how late that's gonna go, but he said he planned on coming. Go.
Good, because I think Mr. Schulte would like to wring one of your necks, so.
Mom was up the other day, because
Good morning.
Okay, guys, we're close enough.
She'll be here in a second.
The sheriff.
What's that? No, he was motioning for Kirsten, I believe. I said she should be here in a second.
She's coming in.
Commissioner approach board.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Stop.
Stand back.
Question for you. Got an extra copy.
I got mine, I'll let you use that.
You give me yours and I'll go make copies.
I'd like to start a new practice here in this boardroom. I get asked to come over, which has happened, and folks show up with documents that have legal import, and there's never an extra copy. And I need you guys to start working on these folks that show up a little bit, because I'm always sitting here taking notes and wondering what the heck's in the document that I can be reading along with as we're going on.
You didn't get one either, did you?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't
How
know.
many copies do you want?
copies.
I think just one.
Oh, two, you want one too,
Try to
David?
get one too.
Yeah, and I'll get one for myself.
Thank you.
So if we could just hold off till we get some copies to everyone, that'd be great. And then, before you start in, please introduce yourself. Sorry, Tracy, I jumped over.
I'm still reading that, so.
Like a whole room of people waiting on you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Want me to stand, or am I okay to sit, or?
Whatever you like to do.
Okay. My board, where I come from, is, there's a little podium, so back in the day. Anyways, introduction, I'm Richard Hoffman. I work for Teamsters. I'm in my third year as a business agent. I'm a retired deputy sheriff in Blackhawk County. I did a full career there, retired in 2019. I was recruited by Teamsters to come take care of law enforcement specific contracts, so I have 30 law enforcement contracts that I maintain. 10 of those are sheriff's office, the rest are police departments or dispatch centers. What brings us here today is members of the Benton County Sheriff's Office and the sheriff and I had a discussion, probably a month ago now, 2 months ago,
Yeah.
regarding pay, recruiting, retention for the Benton County Sheriff's Office. Hence the paperwork and which brought us to here today. So my brief today, I'll be quick, I'm not gonna waste your time. I know that you get bombarded by different requests for monies from multiple things. You have more things to deal with than just the sheriff's office, I get that. This is my piece. So what you have in front of you should be a memorandum of understanding. You should have something that says current at the top, handwritten, and something that says proposed. So if we look at your current pay scale and the proposed pay scale, and how did I get there? If you look at the current pay scale, if you look at the counties that surround you, Blackhawk, Lynn, Benton, Buchanan, Johnson, Tama, and Iowa. At the time, I did not have Powashik County, so I apologize for not having that data in there. Notice that it also says on the top of that, as of 7/1/21. We're just coming out of a bargaining contract year. I had 12 open contracts. I know what those numbers are, and I can brief those with you. Are some of them relevant to you? Know what are your comparables? You can determine that. But this is what surrounds you as far as counties. It's been my experience in bargaining contracts that if somebody's going to go there, they probably have a house here in Benton County, and I live in Grundy County and did a whole career at Blackhawk. I didn't have to live in Blackhawk to do a career there. It's where I've had my house, where I raised my family, and it wasn't a requirement. Some counties have it. I don't know if you have that here. But those are the numbers. If you look at the average, I normally average it, and then are we ahead or are we behind? So if it's in parentheses, it's going to be you're behind and by how much. So when we look at that first one, you'll notice that the first sheet is a deputy sheriff. That's the classification I'm looking at. Benton County Deputy Sheriff is making $24.85 to start and topping at $30.27, according to your current contract. When that contract was signed, I was not a business agent. That was Gary Micah. He has since retired from the Teamsters. Not a retired law enforcement official, was not specific to law enforcement. No, I mean, and last year, quite honestly, the market was completely different than it is right now with what's out there. Probably, I'm sure you've talked to other board members, other counties surrounding you, probably already had this conversation before we even came in here, so you're probably educated in this conversation and kind of where I'm coming from. You know, the intent here is to make you competitive, to keep you competitive, to keep your folks here, and we'll kind of go on some of the reasons why we're going to point out that we want to make sure that we do that. So, and you can look through that. The first one is deputy, the next one's going to be a jailer, or a corrections officer, I think the classification of your case here, and the third copy is going to, or the third portion is going to be a dispatcher. Same thing, the start and the top. So I'm a data-driven fellow, I'm sure as you are, so that's my intent today, is to give information to you, and then you do what you will with it. We have done some legwork on the backside already, and I'll kind of talk about that as we get towards the end, and then we can see where we go from here, if we go anywhere. So a deputy sheriff in Benton County, according as of 7/1/21, is behind $1.02 an hour, the average, according to the comparables that surround you. And the top, you're $2.18 behind. A jailer is 38 cents an hour behind to start, and then they're actually on the top side, they're $1.27 ahead. Now, what I want to preface that with is Benton County is unique in the fact that they have two separate classifications for dispatchers and detention officers. They have a regular class and they have a senior class. So I think you got to be here, what, 4 years to be able to be eligible for the senior class.
Yeah.
Hardly anybody else has that in their contracts. It's normally a jailer's a jailer, you just get so many years of service, and then if you get longevity, you get longevity. This is all base wage, there's no, I like to compare apples to apples, there's no supplemental pay in there, there's no longevity pay in there, there's no shift differential pay, these are raw numbers. And where I got them was off curve, or I already have their contracts, because I represent them. So your jailers aren't in that bad a shape. And then your dispatchers, and they're a little bit on the bottom side, the top side, they're doing well. So then the dispatchers, looks like they're 76 cents an hour behind, and they're 9 cents an hour ahead, bottom and top. The proposal that the union has given in the MOU actually changes the existing pay schedule to make it what's proposed. So the change in the MOU would then change Benton County to 37, from a deputy sheriff classification, 37 cents an hour ahead of the average, and to start, and 53 cents an hour ahead of the average to top. If we go to the next page on the jailer, the proposed MOU would be, put them at 4 cents an hour ahead and $1.27 an hour to top. And then dispatchers are still 34 cents an hour behind and 9 cents. I mean, it's right on that cusp, you know, do I really entertain it? Is it driven? Is there enough to justify the ask or not? I think we left that one alone, if I remember correctly. I would have to look at it. So Benton County isn't the only one. I actually literally have a meeting today at 3 o'clock with Marshall County. I just got a response from the board supervisors from Wapello County last night from Jerry Parker. And then Madison County also wants to open up their contract because they're experiencing the same thing that you are. That we're behind and we need to catch up. Whether that's CPI, what's the market, whatever it is, that's what they're looking to do. So that's kind of what's out there as well. Any questions about the current and the proposed? And what the MOU actually fixes? If you look at the proposed, you can kind of see there where it says remove step 1 under deputy. That's what I did in an effort to try and catch them up on the bottom side of the scale. Because if we look, a deputy was $1.02 an hour behind, so that helped us catch that up by starting step 2 actually becomes step 1. And I think we actually did do away with it was 6 steps, now we're down to 5.
Yeah.
And then the sergeant is in the contract, so the sheriff wanted to make sure that the sergeant is still getting paid more than the top deputy. So whatever the top deputy pay would be, the sergeant would be 6% above that. You can look on page 2, the proposed, the market adjustment was 50 cents an hour across the board for communication specialist and communications officer, not the senior classification, because the senior classification actually does fairly well. And then the same for dispatcher as well. So I think corrected, it was, took step 1, and that's how we got our market adjustment there. And then the 50 cents an hour and the 50 cents an hour, which is how we try to make an attempt at trying to correct Benton County to get them competitive with their surrounding counties. Here lies the issue, gentlemen. This only squares us up for now. My worry is we're gonna fall behind at the end, even if we agree to this. I've got, Blackhawk just went $2 an hour, $1 an hour. Their contract, they were set to bargain to start July 1. I've got a signed contract, TA ratified, done. I'm just waiting for the contract to come in. $1 an hour across the board, all classifications, January 1. $1 an hour across the board, all classifications, March 1, plus 3% come July 1. Plus if you're stepping, you're still stepping. Everybody understands steps, but I'm going year 2, year 3, I figure you probably did. Smart fellows in this room that you deal with these quite often, I would just imagine. Benton County, or no, not Benton County, Buchanan County just went 655 for 3 years. So I just talked to their business agent, I don't have that contract, confirmed that. If you need a copy of the TA, we can see that. I think that's already been voted. Tama County I had, we went 2 5s on the deputies. I think their dispatch or their corrections officers were bought up to what a dispatcher's wage is to make them the same. And then it was an additional 3%. So that's what I had over there. CPI is 5.7 to 7%. We're up against that, inflation. I'm not telling you what you don't know there. Recruiting and retention, we talked about recruiting and retention, and so we're down to, could be looking possibly 3 deputies. Therein lies the big issue, that's the most competitive market. The deputy at least gets to, I mean, there's some fun stuff there. Working in the jail isn't as fun, because you never get out of the jail, but it is what it is. So that market's becoming tighter as well. Recruiting and retention, you know, I was in the training division in Blackhawk County and I was part of recruiting as well. So, I mean, I know what the numbers are. You pull somebody that you bring them from the street to the patrol car, make them part of minimum staff, that number, depending on what your hourly wage, police academy training, so on and so forth, to make them part of your minimum staff, it's normally $60K. So every time somebody walks out the door, they went $60,000 for your sworns, not for your non-sworns. We tried to alleviate that over Blackhawk because we had all sworn in the jail when I started, and we got a lot of detention officers over there now to try and help offset some of that cost. But yours are all non-sworn. I don't know anybody that's sworn that's in the jail. I already talked to you about what other agencies are kind of looking at this as well. I know Marshall's looking to extend their contract for another 2 years and everybody's trying to hedge. I mean, it is what it is out there. I mean, everybody's worried about the CPI and inflation, and can I keep my people here, or are they gonna go somewhere else? That's important. How do I stay competitive? That's what we're dealt with. It's weird times. I mean, for years, I spent my whole career over there, and we'd scratch to get 2s and 3s, you know, over in Blackhawk County, and here we are. Those are just what your comps are. I mean, I do a lot of contracts. I'm just pulling up my notes here. So my police departments, which, you know, we say we're not competitive, but we are, or will your folks go work at Benton PD if they pay better? Probably will, or they'll go to another PD. The officers are sworn peace officers, whether they wear a blue uniform or a tan uniform. But like with most of the police departments, we just did a 20% increase in Belle Plaine, almost 23%. I did that back in July. PDs are getting, there was 5, I already talked about Blackhawk, Cedar Falls went 5s. I just ratified one yesterday, it was 3 5s. Dallas County went 7, 3.5, 3.5. I got 6 and 2 5s. Polk County went 2 5s and a 4. Plus, we hid some money there, actually. We went more money between the steps. They were 3 2 5s, they're sworn between steps, and we moved it to 4. I call it hiding money because it's pretty much what we do. And then their non-sworns went from 3% between steps to 4%. So it gives you another SO. Tama County, I had 2 5s for the sworn, and then dispatch were 2 3s, and we called it up. And then 2 6s for another agency. That's what I bargained this year so far. Last year, that wasn't the case most of the time. I went to arbitration with Eno Police Department, and I was asking 3.5, and they were at 3 and 1 in arbitration, but that was the market a year ago. You know, it were just different times. So I don't want to waste your time. I just want to make sure that, you know, I'm just here to brief current status, members, understanding their employer. I don't necessarily know that, you know, they're really everybody's looking to go somewhere else. We want to keep them here. We want to keep them competitive so they don't go, so we can continue to serve the citizens of Benton County and they can keep the employees that they have.
Now, the figures you got on your proposal here, what, is that figured by a percentage? Or just dollar amounts?
What we did is we took the raw data from what current pay scale was, and then how do we work this to get to the point that's fair, but still is financially responsible. I'm retired from a sheriff's office, so I mean, I get fiduciary responsibility and being responsible with it. So that's how I look at it too, as if I was in your shoes, and how do I justify it to people that keep me in office? So that's how I drive the data. From a percentage, I think it was, if I remember correctly, wasn't it about 6%? I think that's how the numbers came out. If we actually look at the number, if you take...
I've got 6.55.
Okay.
On the deputy.
For the deputy. The deputy's gonna be the higher one because they were the furthest behind to try and catch them up.
Yeah, the other ones are .0279.
And that's besides the 3% what the contract says.
Correct, so the 3% would still continue, so the other 3% would still continue. This is more like a market adjustment to try and catch them up. And then will threes carry the day in the future? I don't have the crystal ball, I don't know, none of us do. I can just tell you that other counties are hedging that it will, and they're Tama County 2.5s, Benton County 6.55 for their sworn. That's what's out there, and we got 3s. My worry is that we continue to fall behind, and do our folks leave here and go somewhere else to make more money?
So on the deputy, you're looking with the contract and the proposed 9.55%. And on the other two, it would be 5.79% with the contract and the proposed.
Then we gotta look ahead to year 2 and 3 too, past that, so now we're talking about another 3% on the backside of that, where others are scoring 5s and 6s. So
Right.
do we fall behind again?
And we don't know what what we're gonna do.
Right.
And so, yeah.
We have on my side, I don't like to propose things to the board that I haven't squared away on my end. So I have taken this MOU to members, it's been voted and ratified on our end, so if you were in agreement, it's simple for me. I'm not gonna bring something to you that we haven't taken care of on our end. So it's in your hands at this point, how you like to proceed. Any questions for me? Sorry to be the bearer of the bad news, our first meeting. Do you normally bargain with the business agent when you bargain contracts? At like Tama County, I see all board members when I bargain over there.
They usually bargain with their sheriff and their legal representative before walking into the boardroom, presenting something right out of the blue.
Yeah, and you give this to your labor attorney, they can calculate the numbers, make sure that I'm not incorrect with my numbers.
Well, I think there'd probably be more to a bargain than just checking your numbers. Don't you think?
My job was to hear come and propose. I proposed them on you.
Well, you've dealt with this before. I'm a little surprised you didn't send this out in advance. This isn't your first time.
I've been kind of busy with other contracts. I'm
Well,
not
you're all
against
busy.
time frame with an MOU, I'm against time frames for bargaining with other contracts.
My advice would be you talk to your labor attorney and your HR director and your sheriff and kind of powwow and decide what you want to do. And if you're gonna reopen the contract, there may be other parts of the contract that you want to talk about as well. You know, for instance, I don't know if anything can be done, but my understanding is we've been trying to get our wellness incentive for years, and historically, the sheriff's department is one of the departments that doesn't participate very well in that. And, you know, if you're gonna reopen it, maybe you reopen it, and there's other things you wanna talk about as well with your labor attorney, your sheriff, and your HR director. And it doesn't have to take forever to get back to them.
That's your advice?
That would be my advice.
See, I never dealt with, this last contract that they got now. I signed it, yes, but we hired somebody from Cedar Falls, Waterloo, to mitigate this contract, so.
And I did the one the time before. So, with our legal representative. So, yeah. And I think that's the prudent thing to do, is to turn it over to them, do a review. So,
I don't think it has to take forever to do that.
no, I don't either. So,
Makes it more defendable from your perspective, I get that part of it.
That's why we had them do the contract last year to begin with, you know, we hired them to do it. And now I feel like all right, you did it, but now we're gonna add to it. I just as soon have them involved with it.
and everybody's looking at the same cost of living issues, you know, it
Yeah,
just,
you're not the Lone Ranger.
No,
no,
I'm not.
every county got hit with it, so, yeah.
The other hand, I don't know if you have pursued, I mean, I hear I come and ask for money, but the other piece of that, there's some ARPA money out there. Have you guys pursued that? Mental health money from the state.
We talked about that a little bit earlier today.
Okay, because I think the state was fully funding that request, or that's where some of these counties would get some of the monies to
Okay.
help offset some of the, because you don't have a mental health institute within your jurisdiction, most of the time that's the jail, right? That's where everybody seems to land, because that's where
We
they
had to
land.
throw those numbers out for the region. They had to be yesterday. Of course. Yeah. So.
For
that
the
was-
spend down.
Yeah, that one's,
Well-
and that was a one-time deal, which this
Yeah,
is.
but,
Well, you have one on next.
but that's not the ARPA fund, that's, ARPA
right,
fund's
that's-
totally different.
That's the fund
Right.
balance, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have it all on digits, if, I mean, by all means, labor attorney wants to go direct with me, that's fine, that's normally what I deal with on a regular bargaining. I was asked to come here and propose, so I did.
Okay, I just assume they deal with them, Waterloo.
Also, it might not be a bad idea to have a supervisor that works with the Benton County side of the equation, the management side. So you'd have the attorney, your HR director, the sheriff, and a board member.
Okay,
A lot of times we've done that in past years.
that's what I thought you did, but
Yeah.
we didn't do it on this one, I know.
Well,
Here
I'm
comes the
not sure
sheriff.
how quick we can put all this
No.
together.
No rush, we have a current contract, absent MOU, we have a current contract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
I think.
so,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
I think we can put something together pretty quick. But
Okay.
it'd be nice to have a supervisor be designated to get pulled into a meeting or two,
okay, all right.
so that then you don't come to.
Thank you.
So you don't come back with something the supervisor.
Daryl, did you need to
Supervisors
speak
had
with
no
the
input
deputy?
from the beginning.
Ron's not gonna make it.
But you could grab U-Paw, he patrols.
Okay, all right.
That block needs to go between the door.
Let me try one more time. So it'd be nice to have a supervisor.
Yes. Who do you want? Or who should it be?
Well, I think that's up to you guys to decide who you want to do it.
Let's hear the other gentleman, then make some decisions with
Okay.
that, because we may want,
He's got 2 minutes, 3 minutes yet, so.
yeah.
Do we need to make any copies before you get going?
I do not have copies, I just have a conversation I'd like to have.
Cool.
And, very brief, and for consideration that we would then be able to handle, after this meeting.
I think you bumped the camera.
Yeah, move it off.
Yeah.
Oops.
I would
Did
never.
you move it to the wall?
I would never do anything to hurt this camera. I hope you know that.
There you go.
Like that?
Yeah, there. You had it all on
We
Kirsten.
don't wanna do
Oh,
something like
Lord,
that.
don't do that.
There. Perfect, thank you.
All the faces that I make, no.
I'd never do anything to hurt that.
You can stand up and be recognized. And you are Robert Gilmore, obviously, so we're just waiting for the clock to tick. I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
I guess the one thing I didn't ask is for wanting this to be immediate, if proposed, because these numbers don't match.
I didn't ask you, but I would guess it would start July 1st. But he did mention you got, the open deputy position, so maybe he did mean it.
Okay, Robert, 11 bells.
Good morning, my name is Robert Gilmore. I have a card I'd like to share with you, if it's okay to present these. I am a field representative for Local Union 2003, that's PPME. Recently was fortunate, there you go, ma'am. We had bargained a contract several years ago, a 3-year contract. And I know that that process was a little different than it probably we're used to. I think the representative that the county used was ill. We kind of had a late notice. We were kind of like, hadn't been able to contact each other. At the time I reached out to the chairman, Rick Primer, we kind of moved to the county attorney's office, and we kind of really did something unique in a lot of ways, but went very smoothly and fluid. And that is, we bargained our contract amongst ourselves. We bargained a 3-year contract with a dollar or cents per hour increase versus a percentage, which really benefits your new hires and the lower paid. Because, you know, as a percentage of increase, it's a little higher for them than if based on their salary. The reason I'm here today is, of course, is that at that time, none of us could envision a lot of the things we've gone through, you know, the tornadoes, the derechos, and of course COVID, and what it's done to the employees, to our counties, to our neighbors and our friends. But, you know, recently, you know, and out of the COVID come the ARPA monies. Some of the things I'll address you with will sound similar to the comments made by the officials here on behalf of the deputies and sheriffs, but that is that keeping employees can be challenging in this time. We really appreciate the years of relationship and well thought out relationship between the employees represented on the secondary roads in the county. It's very obvious that their contract and the benefits that they've received over the years, that there is an appreciation for the work they provide. What I'm here hopefully to offer is consideration that we would enter into a letter of understanding that the increase July 1 of 22 would be the same as you had recently done and accepted for the rest of the employees. I believe that's 10%. Now we do have a percent, we have a increase coming. Our proposal would be, in lieu of that amount, it would be 10% of the current wage. So there's about 2.9 and 3% depending on the wage of the individuals that's already inherently built into this ask that we're doing, which is different than the previous ask, which was to include the July 1 increase plus ask. So really that's it. I didn't bring anything official because quite honestly we have a contract and I understand that. This was just maybe to see if there was interest in accomplishing that goal on behalf of the employees. And if there is, it'd be very simple. A letter of understanding would be very simply put together that just said that the wage rate shall be, you know, if it's 10%, which is what I believe you had taken action on for everyone except for the union. And that's really it, folks. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Robert, could I ask a couple questions?
You bet.
What year are we in that contract?
We're in our last year, so we will be recertifying this fall. Yeah, and that's something that happens in the last year of every contract. So we'll go through that formal process of notifying all the employees, and they'll take a vote, a certification election in October of this year. And then we would bargain a new contract next year. Probably we would hope to get started in December, but you know, the CPIs and everything that's been going on has really kind of put things back with budgets, you know. So no later in January, I would assume we'd be meeting next year.
Question for you, similar to the last group that was here. The county is
J15.
attempting to get a wellness
J5.
insurance discount.
Okay.
And
Not the
need to have
15.
people, employees
Typo.
just
in there.
Okay. Yep.
And
Typo.
I'm trying to meet up with Secretary Rose.
Is that one that
It's
goes-
the two unions
I got it.
that have the
Yeah,
worst
this is him.
participation.
Okay.
That cost us from getting the full discount.
Okay.
And as you know, health insurance is a substantial cost. my recommendation would be to treat this proposal the same as the last one and meet with the attorney and with Myron and a board member and Kirsten and come up with something. At the same time, if you're gonna reopen this, you know, we need to have better participation on wellness.
Okay.
No offense, the union folks are costing us money.
Okay. And so I think our proposal really isn't to open the agreement because it's gonna be open next year. But I would be open to accomplish what it is we would hope to do.
Right.
We would be open to a counter suggestion on something like that. But really, I'm not trying to open the agreement, just do a letter, but keep the current terms. But again, we'll be open to a suggestion. I'll have to take it to the min.
But the current contract is set. You're asking that to be opened with a letter, and we're
Just for
still,
wages.
right,
Yeah.
and maybe it should be for more than just wages.
Well, if that's something that you folks would counter propose to us, I'd have to go to the group. You know, ultimately, I think the employees live in the county, have gone through a lot of folks were able to, weren't required to go to work during COVID. These folks have, you know, obviously, and they know that's their job. They're county employees, when it snows, another consideration, I almost hesitate to say, but we've had a good winter, and I know most county budgets reflect higher utilization of overtime paid during the winter than we've probably experienced. So there could be resources there already inherently into the budget. Not untypical to maybe take one whole salary person and put that towards overtime. I don't wanna step on your business that much. I was just hopeful that, I appreciate being considered on behalf of the employees, and I understand what you're suggesting. I think our ultimate goal is we know we have a contract that will be up next year. Once we recertify, it'll be open for, obviously the full open. And what we were just hoping to accomplish was to be treated the same way this July based on the ARPA funds and the current situation, in that manner. That would be great.
I believe some of the wellness parameters are changing also,
Correct.
isn't that, Kristen, where it's gonna be more convenient and easier to qualify?
Yeah, so that was kind of what I was gonna say. So wellness is quote unquote optional. We have to leave it as optional. However, it's being simplified, so I would just ask that the members of the union consider looking into it. And I'm actually putting something out, not this week's pay stub, the one after that, of some comparables of where, with what we talked about previously, where our health insurance would have been had we not at least got the discount that we did, and where it may potentially go. And I, they have until October 31st to get that done. So that's something that I'll have the numbers when the next contract is opened back up to see if their participation did increase to help us decrease the cost of our health insurance. So we will have some numbers to back up what we decide to ask for either now or later. But I'm hoping it's a simplified process, no blood work, no invasive, some things we should get higher participation.
And I would add that I'm a trustee on a health and welfare plan that takes care of over 2,000 individuals. We struggle with our union folks with the wellness. This is something that is real to me. I understand it, and I will, having just heard this, I can assure you I'll have a meeting with these folks. And I know we're already into this year's, you're looking at next year's projections, but you'll have my 100% support. If there's some information I could have that I could leave them, what I'll do is I'll hold a meeting up here and tell them, listen, guys, this matters. This is important because this cost does affect the money and the resources the county has, as well as you'd be surprised how many times it can benefit you health-wise by finding something early. And it's a typical thing for a lot of, myself included. I think guys tend to just not go do the things they need to do. So you have my support with that immediately.
Do you have his email, Myron?
Yeah.
I can send you what
Okay.
I'm planning on putting out
Yeah.
for everybody, just so
Absolutely.
you can kind of get a synopsis of
where we are. So our health insurance increased to 8.4, but the board graciously opted for employees to increase to
Use your
2.5.
calculator.
I was able to get a 2% discount, which equates to almost
Take this
$31,000.
2170.
We can go up to a
Take
5%
it
discount.
3%.
So that's what we're working towards, to not have to give our employees the, 8, 9, 10% raise of premiums next year. Because it does, I mean, it's over $15,000 in a percentage, so.
I understand.
Yeah, so
I'd be happy to
that's
share
off
that.
topic, but I can send you that stuff.
No, it really is on topic.
And it's valid,
Because
it's valid now, it started January 1st and goes through October.
I'd be happy to hold that meeting and explain that benefit. It's something that we struggle with in our larger fund as well. We even try to incentivize by deductibles being paid if,
Yeah.
we're all in that.
Yeah, yep,
We're all trying to figure out how to get those folks that are
Yep.
really in more office.
and we're gonna look into other
I'd be happy
things too,
to have a meeting there and explain that
Yep.
benefit.
sure.
So,
percentage did you wanna do?
if that's, if there's no other questions, I just want to finish with saying,
6.
it's always been a great relationship. We truly appreciate that. The employees have, really, let me know that. I've just become the rep a couple years ago. We had several that have retired, so this is my first opportunity to meet you in person. I thank you for your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, Robert, when you take off, I will grab a card from you. If that's okay.
Pardon?
I will take a card from you.
Okay,
if
you bet. I'll go ahead and hit the road.
Thank you much.
Thank you for your time, folks. Have a good day.
You sat here a long time, didn't you?
It looks contract, it's about 3%.
Yes, that was like 2.77,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. The current one. Mhm.
So then I guess we'll set a meeting up. No.
And it would be nice to have a supervisor representative,
Okay.
maybe,
All right.
I thought I heard someone say that earlier.
Okay. About 3 times now, but
Depends on when you get together,
I'll volunteer.
Does Laura Folkert have a different email since she switched firms?
No, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
So about the only thing I got, I can either tell you now or meet with you later. I got you some work last week. I'll let you read the minutes that we approved. I wrote on chicken scratch on this, so I think you
Was
can
this on the fair
understand.
board?
The fair board.
Yes,
Sure.
so I guess
I
that's
think you were
about,
sitting here last week.
Well, I didn't come to your Thursday meeting, but.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
Thursday night. That's when we officially approved it. Same thing what we agreed on Tuesday, or what we proposed on Tuesday.
With some definitive terms though, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Other than interest rate, we gave a range, and it looks like it's gonna be at the top end of that.
Yeah, I'll look at what you got.
okay. And I believe, you guys, any meetings last week?
Yeah, but I think I already discussed them.
Okay, you?
We got that check from Heartland.
Did?
Are we about done with this COVID stuff? Or are you gonna get some more money from that?
I have not applied for anything more right now. There's nothing out there for options to apply for. The FEMA money will be coming, but that just takes a long time from when I submitted all that. But we'll be getting about 19,000.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kristen.
Kirsten.
But I asked the clerk's office to provide the masks since they're the ones requiring them. And
I think that's
they
going
kept
away,
asking
isn't
for
it?
mine, huh?
Isn't it going away with the courts?
It was supposed to yesterday, but it's up to the judge
Yeah,
if he still wants them.
but security officers were still giving them out quite a bit, so I had them contact Julie for more masks instead of
Okay.
using ours.
How many of them have we used in the last
A lot.
while?
We don't have very much left over, and that was all from my election supplies, so.
There's a mess.
Okay, got anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You didn't have nothing, did you, Myron?
No, I just came through what I had said.
Okay. New man started yesterday.